The author of the post describes a situation in which their stepsister is marrying their former romantic partner. The author is expected to attend the wedding and feign acceptance, as the bride has faced criticism for causing distress to the author. The author's stepsister is 25 years old and the groom is 26. The author describes their relationship with their stepsister as close as that of two siblings. The author's mother and her father met when the author was 8 years old and the bride was 6. They formed a strong bond from the beginning. My former romantic partner and I terminated our relationship 2 years ago. He was unfaithful to me, and I discovered this information a week after he proposed to me. This occurred approximately 5 to 6 months later. My stepsister informed me that she and my former romantic partner had initiated a romantic relationship. I was incredulous. I was enraged at her, but the remainder of my family, my mother, stepfather, and 2 half-sisters, did not perceive this as a betrayal. My mother once admonished me to mature and move forward. I gradually distanced myself from my stepmother. I began to devote myself to my studies, citing a lack of time as the reason for my absence from social engagements. Approximately 10 months ago, I began a romantic relationship with my current partner, CB25, a male. However, my stepsister has long held a romantic interest in him, and she continues to send him messages and texts. They have never been romantically involved. I have not informed my family that I am in a relationship with my sister and my former romantic partner have recently become engaged, and they have sent out wedding invitations for a ceremony scheduled to take place in June. I did not respond to the invitations because I do not intend to attend. However, when I arrived last week, my mother requested that I visit. She was waiting with my stepsister, her closest friend, and my maid of honor. My mother initiated an intervention, stating that I needed to cease alienating myself from those around me and move on from the hurt I had experienced. My stepsister is getting married and had requested that I serve as a bridesmaid. I declined, prompting my stepsister to express her distress and accuse me of ruining her wedding. She inquired if my refusal was related to my lack of a +1, suggesting that I could be paired with one of my former romantic partners, my boyfriend, the single best man, and I would not feel lonely. I then became enraged and informed her that I would not be attending her wedding because I do not like her. She began to weep once more, calling me malevolent and a hag for intentionally wishing to cause her pain on her most significant day. I departed from the gathering and subsequently received a phone call from my mother, who urged me to attend as a guest at the very least. I have severed all ties with the entire family. It is evident that they require my presence to demonstrate that there are no residual negative feelings between us and that I have played a positive role in their marriage, despite the criticism she has faced from the family for her actions towards me. I am currently experiencing a high level of anger and frustration. The relationship between my stepsister and me has reached a point of irreparable damage. I am perplexed by the difficulty they are having in comprehending and accepting the situation. Furthermore, I am in a relationship, and I am contemplating whether to attend the event. If I do attend, I anticipate that my stepsister will regret her decision to extend the invitation. I value my mother and my sisters, but I am frustrated by their alignment with my stepsister. I am aware that my mother is serious about severing ties with me if I do not attend. She has expressed her affection for my stepfather. I am very much in love with my partner, and I find it upsetting that my stepsister is upset with me. I am unsure how to proceed, as it seems that whichever way I look at it, I am the one who will lose out. My partner has essentially given me an ultimatum. Either I show up, or I am cut off. I am reluctant to deal with ultimatums and believe that the best course of action would be to simply tell them to go away. I am confident that I still have the support of my extended family, but I am unsure how to proceed in this situation. It would be prudent to consider the possibility that your sister was the individual with whom your stepsister was involved. It is evident that your family is providing significant resistance to your stepsister's actions, and your presence at the event may be necessary to address this matter. I am merely hypothesizing about the latter part of the situation, but I would nevertheless advise against attending the wedding. I am inclined to be disagreeable, so I would be inclined to say, I am not going to your wedding. Do whatever you want. I don't care. What would you do if you were in my position? What advice would you give her? Please let me know in the comments section. One may proceed to the community comments section to ascertain the opinions of other users. The user, Garfield is my idol and mine too, inquires as to why the user's mother believes that the rest of the family would cut off contact if they have been giving the user's stepsister a hard time. The user suggests that the wedding be avoided and that the user's mother should not act as an intermediary between the user and the rest of the family. The remainder of the family should obtain your contact information and disseminate it among those whom they trust and with whom they maintain regular communication. In response, Opie posits that the individual in question likely meant her half-sisters and stepfather. However, Hey What's Cooking cautions against acquiescence and suggests that you should not attend the event. The individual in question is desperate for your presence because her actions were socially unacceptable. In order to avoid giving the impression that she was involved with him prior to your breakup, a sister who is willing to engage in backstabbing, she needs you to turn up with a smile and prove that it is okay. However, you should not do so because it is not. Furthermore, it seems unlikely that they will cut you off if they are this desperate for you to forgive them. OPI's response was that this is the rumor that is going around. It has been alleged that he was unfaithful to me with her. By having me as a bridesmaid and stepsister, he is attempting to salvage his reputation. I am uncertain as to why she is concerned. In a previous conversation on the afternoon of September 6, 2022, I stated that I would not attend the wedding. I would never date someone who had been unfaithful to someone close to me, particularly if they had caused them significant distress. I am astonished that it is evident that your mother is attempting to conceal her true feelings by maintaining a facade of amity. It is clear that she has caused you pain and that her actions were wrong. It is therefore imperative that you do not feign acceptance of her behavior and that you do not engage in any conduct that would be perceived as an attempt to deliberately disrupt the wedding. It is recommended that you do not engage in any conduct that would be perceived as an attempt to deliberately disrupt the wedding. It is evident that the family in question is manipulative. In addition to this, further information can be derived from the comments made by the original poster. I myself inquired as to why the fiancé of my stepsister wished to have his former partner present at his wedding. The response I received was that he did not mind, as long as we all moved on. The most significant issue I have with this situation is that I do not wish to get married in the future and have my family boycott my wedding. I have chosen not to attend my stepsister's wedding, as I am not ready to introduce my partner to my family. My stepsister is unaware that I am dating her former romantic interest. She continues to communicate with him, however, and I am concerned about how my family will react if I attend the wedding. I am not ready to introduce my partner to my family, as I am enjoying our relationship and I am not ready for their reaction. If I do attend the wedding, I do not want to make a scene. I must attend, and I would like my boyfriend to be my plus one. I would also like to provide some background on my current boyfriend. He is someone I went to the same class in high school with. He asked me out approximately 5 years ago, but I turned him down. I did not do so because I was not interested, but because I knew my stepsister had a crush on him. He asked me again when he heard I was single. I accepted his proposal, and I fell in love with him within a month. With the additional context and responses from the commenters and the original poster, OP, what do you think OPI should do now? Please share your thoughts in the comments section. We will then move on to the update to see what ultimately transpired. Before we proceed, I would like to express my gratitude to you all. When I initially wrote this, I was consumed by a profound sense of hurt and anger. I was contemplating a rather petty form of revenge against my stepsister. However, with the invaluable advice I received from you, I have come to realize that such a response is futile and counterproductive. I have come to understand that the only hurt I was feeling was a result of my mother's actions, particularly in light of my ex-boyfriend's infidelity. My boyfriend was unfaithful. I felt that my mother had let me down by not supporting me. I do not care about my stepsister or my former partner. My current romantic partner and I are very happy with our relationship. I have decided to try one last time to repair the damage caused by my mother's actions. I have also decided to be completely honest with her about my feelings. On Friday, I visited my mother. She was alone at home. I began by expressing my hurt feelings about the intervention. I felt that it was unnecessary and that my mother had consistently sided with my stepsister to please my stepfather. I also explained that I had many reasons for not attending. The wedding of my stepsister, which I attended, has prompted a reevaluation of our relationship. While I no longer feel hurt by her actions, I no longer see her as my sister. I do not feel an obligation to repair her reputation by attending her wedding. She has made a controversial life choice, and even if I am no longer hurt by it, I understand that others will be critical of her choice. I do not understand why she cared about this matter. Finally, I informed her of my current romantic involvement. It is likely that the stepsister still harbors feelings for him, and it would be unkind for us to attend her wedding and cause her distress. I informed her that I was not yet prepared to make our relationship official, and that if she knew he would be my plus one, she might reconsider her invitation. I observed that my mother's distress increased with each mention of my current boyfriend. After I finished speaking, she asserted that I was, in fact, a vindictive individual. She informed me that she was ashamed of me and that my bitterness was the reason I would end up alone. She also stated that I was pathetic for having sexual relations with my stepsister's former romantic partner. Furthermore, she forbade me from disclosing this information to anyone. She even threatened to inform my current romantic partner that I was using him to get back at my stepsister. Finally, she kicked me out of her house yesterday when I was in the kitchen. I heard the doorbell ring, and it was my stepsister approached me with my former boyfriend when she observed a current boyfriend. She inquired, "What are you doing here?" I exited the kitchen, and she exhibited visible distress, her eyes filled with tears. Her intention was to engage in conversation with me and her former boyfriend to resolve the situation. However, upon comprehending the circumstances, she began to cry. She hurled insults at me and hurled shoes at me, attempting to assault me. She demanded to know why I had done this to her. Her current boyfriend intervened and requested that they leave. He prevented her from approaching me. She departed in tears, and my boyfriend was left in a state of confusion following my mother's communication with me via email. In the email, my mother expressed her disgust at my actions, suggesting that I had planned for my stepsister to discover my current romantic involvement. She also forbade me from contacting her or my sisters and stated that if I did not end my relationship with my current boyfriend immediately, she would prioritize breaking us up. I showed my current boyfriend the email, and he reacted with distress. He is experiencing significant distress. He inquired whether I would be amenable to relocating to another city with him upon my graduation and subsequent move-in. We will have to see what transpires, but I found his suggestion appealing. It was the first time he broached the topic of cohabitation. I would have been overjoyed if I were not so devastated. I would like to provide an extended update based on the comments from the original poster. My mother has already informed the current boyfriend on Facebook that he should exercise caution. I believe that my lack of trustworthiness is a significant factor in her decision. If she were interested in him, she could inform him of my capabilities. My current boyfriend deleted his account on social media. I have always felt like an inconvenience to her since my father's passing and her subsequent relationship with my stepfather. I felt like I was simply tagging along with her. I believe that her primary concern is my stepfather's potential anger. She has consistently prioritized him and his needs over mine. I have concluded that I no longer require validation from my mother. I currently possess all the resources I require, and I feel genuinely loved for the first time in years, perhaps since my father's passing. Consequently, I no longer seek her approval. I will not respond to any further requests from my mother or sisters, who are still young, at the ages of 15 and 16, respectively. I hope they will reach out to me when they are adults, but for the time being, I do not wish to engage with them. Furthermore, I have also terminated my relationship with my former partner. My boyfriend texted me, requesting a conversation. I blocked him. If they are experiencing difficulties, I am not interested in becoming involved. I wish to clarify that I am not currently dating my stepsister. I was in the same class as my boyfriend in high school. My stepsister had a crush on him. He asked me out approximately 5 or 6 years ago, and I declined because I was aware of my stepsister's feelings for him. He asked me again approximately 10 months ago, and I accepted. I will not elaborate further, except to say that my mother's actions have negatively impacted our relationship. It is beneficial to move on from the past and to move forward with one's life. It is advisable to leave the past behind and to move on with one's significant other. One should consider relocating to a different city and starting a new life with one's partner. It is not necessary to engage with one's half-siblings. It is possible that they may contact one at some point in the future, but that is a separate matter. I would like to express my gratitude for sharing this information and wish you well in the future. I will now move on to the next post, which is from the subreddit Petty Revenge. It is written by user Necroativanenko. It concerns a situation in which I was misled by someone and I mirrored his own poor behavior, despite knowing it would hurt him. I was seeing a man I met randomly through a mutual acquaintance. He asked me on multiple dates, and I informed him that I was not interested in a casual relationship. He assured me that his intentions were different and that he felt we could develop a romantic connection quickly. After a month of dating and talking, he demonstrated his commitment to being a gentleman. We engaged in sexual intercourse, and 2 days later, I discovered that I was not emotionally prepared for a serious relationship. I decided to be transparent with him about my feelings. We agreed to maintain a casual relationship. I had initially considered playing along with his game, but ultimately decided against it. I feigned confusion, but then informed him that it was in our mutual best interest. He immediately called me and began questioning my motives. I responded that I had realized I did not want a serious relationship with him. This led to a heated exchange, during which he expressed his frustration. It has been a week since our last interaction, and he has been calling me daily, attempting to convince me to spend time with him. His strategy seems to be to convince me that he is the one for me. At random, I would like to propose the following hypothesis. The option of treatment has been proposed in this subthread, following the realization that I am not a villain in this context. I have made an error in the last part of the previous message, which I have now corrected. In our communication, I spoke to him in a way that suggested he was a sneaky link, rather than a person in his own right. It is imperative that he respects the boundaries that we have established and allows me the time and space to pursue other romantic interests. The sexual aspect of our relationship is not a priority for me at this time. I believe that it would be beneficial for him to understand this. I believe that he deserves to have this understanding. I mean that he was quite honest from the beginning of our relationship, while his subsequent actions have not been as forthcoming. The possibility of a relationship with you is no longer a viable option for him. He is either seeking something from you or wants to maintain contact. It appears that this individual is simply pursuing desires that are beyond his reach. Since Ab did not request advice or a judgment, we will simply move on to the update from here. He has essentially requested a meeting with me. I have once again been contacted by this individual, who has expressed an interest in continuing our conversation. I have been contemplating whether it is worthwhile to devote any time to this interaction. However, I have decided to proceed, despite my reservations. I had formulated a plan of action in the event that he resorts to lying and manipulation. However, this did not materialize. It transpired that the conversation had a more positive outcome than anticipated. He began by expressing his desire to maintain contact, noting that the term casual is open to interpretation and does not imply a lack of importance on my part. I then interjected to express my gratitude for his strength in confronting his feelings. I was frank about the fact that we were evidently incompatible and that our continued association was a waste of each other's time. I had been reluctant to bring this up for fear of hurting his feelings, but I was relieved that he had the courage to broach the subject, allowing us to move on and pursue other relationships that would be mutually beneficial. I stated that I was gratified when he initially expressed that sentiment, despite my initial confusion. His reaction was priceless, and I might as well have splashed my coffee into his face. It was so sour. I felt as though I had achieved the best revenge in my life. It felt good. He has now sent me a lengthy text about he expressed remorse for his actions and indicated that he believes there was a significant communication error on his part. He also stated that he believes we deserve another chance. However, I do not anticipate further updates from him, as I do not intend to interact with him again. I believe that engaging with him would be a waste of my time. It is impossible to know with certainty whether someone is intentionally deceitful. It is possible that the individual in question may have employed a somewhat unconventional approach in order to gain your attention. However, in this particular instance, it seems unlikely that this was the case. It appears that the individual in question does, in fact, hold positive feelings towards you, but it is unclear whether he is capable of maintaining a long-term relationship. Furthermore, it seems that he was not planning to enter into one at all. His actions indicated that he was interested in pursuing a relationship with you. In order to gain the approval of another individual, it is not uncommon for a person to attempt to foster a positive impression, even if they do not intend to pursue a relationship. This strategy is often employed as a means of rejecting someone in a seemingly virtuous manner, allowing the individual to maintain a sense of moral superiority. However, it is important to recognize that such actions are not always driven by genuine intentions. As previously mentioned, this situation can be viewed as a form of retribution, in which the individual in question has managed to avoid becoming entangled in a complex and potentially damaging drama. It is commendable to have avoided becoming enmeshed in such a situation. Thank you for sharing this experience. I wish you well in your future endeavors. I trust that you have found today's video to be as enjoyable as I have found it to be in the preparation of it. If you have enjoyed it, I would be grateful if you would take the time to like it. I would also be grateful if you would consider subscribing to my channel and sharing the video with others who you think may enjoy it. Should you have the time, I would encourage you to peruse the links I have provided in the video description, which lead to various resources from our Discord community, my channel, and merchandise. Finally, I would like to express my gratitude to you, the viewers, for your continued support and interest in my work. I am truly appreciative of your engagement and feedback. I look forward to continuing to create content that resonates with you in the future. Music.